Okay, my friends, let's do some stretching. Of course, this is really all yoga. I've done yoga for a long time. We're just going to call it stretching for now. Cheers. Salutations. Bottoms up. It's my third 16-ounce class of the day. Approaching 8 a.m. All right, let's start off with some stuff. Thank you. This is the first time I've spoken all day. Now, however you feel in the morning dictates how you're going to start. The easiest way to start is always on your knees like this. We're going to really do some hip openers later today, but let's just come into the place that we know. We can always begin mostly comfortable for everybody. If you can't do this with your knees, seated is fine on your butt or standing. Cool. Yeah, we could always just start with a breath, finding the silence and the stillness, saying thank you. All right, and begin moving. I do, there's all this like wiggling in your toes and fingertips that are available, and then before getting into like any real movement, not real, before I get into the protocol, right, the routine, I just kind of like shake it up a little bit, and I move everything, and this is like an assessment too, just like where's everything at. But then eventually, when you're done moving all the fingers, the wrists, the elbows, and the shoulders, right, then you worked out like all that, like, I don't know, it's like kind of like an angst, but it's not an angst, because that angst is more of an urge, but it is an urge. It is, your body does urge to move and does want to move. So we can call it angst too, but it's not like an angsty teenager who, wants one thing. This is the angst of movement, which is a characteristic of life. Okay, so then after the little things are all out, let's move on to some of the bigger stretches. The spine, the torso, the trunk, the pelvis. We'll start with the shoulder. Reaching up with one hand and then lifting up even further, anchoring in with the other hand on the ground and bending. Lateral bend. This is the first one of the day, so just, go to the end range of motion and maybe a little bit more. But we don't have to go crazy over there. Just a couple breaths in that situation. In that position. Good. Same thing on the other side. Reaching up as high as you can go, anchoring in with the other hand, pushing the hip into the ground. And then continue reaching just past that point of comfortability down the right side of your body. And another breath. Good. Now let's do it again. Reaching up with one hand, anchoring in with the other, pushing the hip down. Good. We can get a little bit deeper this time. Good. I'm going to do a little bit of rotations at the end of that range of motion just to feel how that hip's doing over there. Good. And continue reaching with the shoulder blade. Continue pushing. All right, see, look at my face right now. It's because I'm trying really hard to continue pushing down into the mat. My hip is reaching down towards the floor. My shoulder is lifting up off my body. Not off my body, it's lifting up towards my hand. And I'm stretching from pinky down to the top of my hip. Coming out of it slowly with the out breath. God, I just had a neck crack there. And the other side, reaching up as high as you can. Pushing into the ground with the other side, pushing the hip down towards the ground and then reaching up from your pinky all the way up to your hip. Guys, I know maybe you already know how to do these stretches and you've seen it a couple times and you're like waiting for the next thing. Guys, the next thing is right. You already have it. It's right there. You have the tool. This is one of the most powerful stretches that I know. And I know them all. And I've seen them all. But this one right here really opens you up first thing of the day. You can almost kind of tell how my voice has gotten louder since I started stretching. It's almost like, well, now my voice wants to move. My voice wants to grow. Oh, sorry about that. That was so bad. I should not have done that because this is a live yoga and I can't go back and edit that shit. All right, back out of that stretch. We're breathing. Good, that feels good. Now, let's go into let's open up the hips just a little bit before we jump into the down dog, up dog series. And lunge. Okay, coming up to the feet. And let's do the balls of the feet for now. That's cool. So you can like be on the toes, kind of like a catcher. My heels are up off the ground. You know, there is this one too, the actual squat, where you come down on the whole foot. I do like to do this one very frequently. It's a good opener for rotations. But for right now, let's just come on the balls of the feet. Hands planted firmly into the ground. And we are pushing our elbows into our knees. And then allowing our knees to come to their most open position. Good. And then when we find the end range of motion, when we find that like limit, you'll feel it in your groin area. When you find the limit in your groin area, then just squeeze back with your knees against your elbows a little bit. And increase that muscular dynamic activity. That really gets the blood flowing this early in the morning. Okay, then this is a good position too. Once you find that end barrier and then you squeeze a little bit, this is a good one too. Activate Mula Bandha. The muscle you squeeze when you're stopping the flow of urine. Or a Kegel. Out of all of those, I really just like to say Mula Bandha. I feel like that's just the most appropriate way to call it, the appropriate word to call it. Feeling a little bit of allergies this morning. Excuse me, I'm so sorry about that. I'll have to go back and make sure I edit that. Squeezing, and then open it up a little bit more. Did you feel that? Did you feel how after you're done squeezing and then you go back into the push of your elbows against your knees, it opens up more. It's called reciprocal inhibition. It is a neurological reflex. It's like strain, counter strain in the PT world. I think that's what they call it, I'm not sure. All right, now, squeezing my knees against my hands and relaxing, opening it up a little bit. Whew. That one's deep. This one really opens me up. Okay, from here I'm going to come into a standing position. Just pushing back. Oh. All right. Okay, so when I'm on the mat, it's always like the mat's like a platform. It's almost like there's a rectangular beam of energy, like shooting off, and like I'm like in the field of it. You know what I mean? Like almost like I'm a mime. Like there's like this. It's not. I'm not trapped in it. It's more like I want to be in it because like there's just like this field around the yoga mat that I created with my consciousness because I do yoga all the time, and so I just like want to get like really familiar with the boundaries of the mat. And I'm using like it's my imagination or whatever, but I'm projecting an image of just a beam of light. It's blue, I like the mat, and the beam of light is a rectangular shape exactly like this, and it just goes all the way up and probably all the way down too. I can't see past my floor. And now it's like I'm standing. It's almost like it was a box, right? It's almost like I stepped into a box, and now I'm in the yoga world. All right, so let's do some down doggy. Let's find our way to plank position. Downward facing doggy in the upper plank position. I'll probably bang out a couple push-ups right now. Just because it's early, and why not? Let's get the big muscles of the trunk moving. I guess we haven't done air squats yet, huh? All right, so from the high plank, we're going to push back into the down dog. Adjust your feet as necessary. Good. I'm sorry about the microphone stuff. Okay, I'm good. All right. Fingertips, heels, Push your butt up into the air. Let your head relax. Fingertips, heels. Push your butt up into the air, and it's kind of like letting your belly come down too. But you're using your arms for that last one. When I say push your butt up into the air, really that requires you to push into the mat. And you're pushing your head towards your pelvis, towards your feet. And that should increase the stress, strain. You should feel the stretch in your hamstrings and calves. And then just hang out here. There's no really reason to do anything. You've got the great stretch, full body activation, and then from here, Mula Bandha. And you should be able to feel this everywhere. Every part of your body is activated right now. Fingertips, toes, your arms, your legs. Now, if you need to, you can squeeze your legs together. That kind of gives you one more component. Then you could push them apart, too. But fingertips, pushing your body towards your feet, reaching your heels towards the ground, squeezing Mula Bandha, making sure your head's relaxed. You could just do this one stretch one time. If you're not doing any stretching at all, you can do this one stretch one time, and it would improve back pain. Okay, coming back into high plank, dipping down into low plank, and up dog quietly, carefully. First up dog extension of the day. You don't want to go crazy with it. Breathe into it. Good. Good. I'm going to keep my toes planted in the ground. My hips moving down towards the ground. Excuse me. And then just little rotations. Allowing yourself to really open up. This is at the very bottom of the spine. I can just feel like my L5-S1. It was like the top of the sacrum. If I let my feet go down, it activates it just a little bit differently. You can feel the difference. Good. And then just allowing your breath to lead you. Feel yourself letting go every time you breathe out. Feel yourself going deeper into the stretch as you breathe out. Oh, yes, this is really good. Okay, and that was fantastic. Pushing back up to the knees. Good. You can do that, child's pose thing here if you want to. I almost never do child's pose. All right, coming back into this, check back into that, and stand. All right, that was pretty good. And let's do it again. I'm going to come to the other side of the mat just for yay. Back into high plank. Let's do 10 push-ups here. I'm going to spread my hands just a little bit wider on the mat. This activates the pecs more than the triceps. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is probably terrible for the microphone. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, hands back on the mat. Let's try going into down dog again. Top of the push-up position, pushing the hands into the mat. Fingertips, pushing your hands into the mat, pushing your body closer to your feet. Letting your head relax. Digging your heels towards the ground. And Mula Bandha. Good. Fingers. Push your body towards your feet. Heels. Head relaxed. Breathe. Keep breathing.
don't stop breathing. Remember that you're breathing. If you want to find the stillness at the bottom of a breath, damn, you're very advanced to perform meditation while you're doing your stretching. Wonderful. Let's come out of that pose, down into up dog. Good. Just take this one easy from the elbow. And feel the opposition of what we just did. And speaking of strain, counter strain, it's like compress, decompress. Okay, now, from this position, if you're feeling confident to come into a full lunge, if you can't do a full lunge, you could always do a modified lunge. This is another way. You can do the entire series like this, using your hand, get your hands closer to the floor. If not, if you've got a full lunge here, let's do it together. Good. Getting dirty here. All right, full lunge. Really just like playing with it, bouncy, getting strong. Just feel your body's ability to move through it. It's not about being static. It's about finding your power and then allowing your body to just take these minor angulations to achieve all of the little ranges of motion that we don't usually get. Coming straight up, bending to the side. Remember, you always bend more stable. The bend is more stable when you bend towards the front leg, the leg that's in front of you right now. And then you can feel that stretch from your pinky all the way down. And then when you bend towards the leg that's the back leg, this one's a little bit tougher. Oh my goodness. It really requires more activation and more muscles. There's more things happening. You're about to fall over is basically what happens. You just fell over, didn't you? Okay. Now, from the front lunge and after the side bends, I do like to rotate here sometimes too. I don't feel any particular need to rotate in that direction right now. Now, let's drop the back foot, pointing forward. We're in a side lunge and a reverse side lunge. And then a forward side lunge. Elbow bringing to your knee. Good. Making a straight line from your pinky all the way down to your pinky toe. Coming back up. Reverse lunge. With the reverse lunge, you really want to get into the front knee, pushing the pelvis forward, and then you can come back and feel the stretch from the top of your hip to the top of your pinky. Woo, it's a good one. Good. Now we're going to come deeper into the evolved lunge. And as we get down to a comfortable space, if you're feeling your stability, reach behind you with your top hand, reach underneath your leg. Ah, that was so good. That was the AC joint. Good, you can hold that bind for a moment if you'd like. If not, come back up into your side lunge. Point both feet towards the long edge of the mat. And let's just go from here. Just kind of chill in this position. See, it's not really about like getting in there, like 1, 2, 1, 2. It is some days for sure. But why don't you just feel your body? Why don't you feel your body change as you move and as you breathe? Come into an awareness of a practice. There's a million things that we could do from this position. I typically don't hang out here very often. It's not really my... It's very Jane Fonda to me. It's just like very like 1980s aerobics when you're in this position. Not that it's bad. I mean, coming in a little bit closer to like a horse riding stance. Well, this has more of a kung fu feature to it, and like a qigong. But like when you're this wide in a straddle,
I'm just like, let's move on to the next thing. Sorry.
Okay. Your back foot is not quite forward, right? This is a forward lunge, right? But it's not quite parallel to the mat. We're at a 45-degree angle coming up this way. Our front foot is pointed towards the short end of the mat. Good. And then I'm bouncing in it, getting in it right here, feeling that strength here, feeling the stability. And now let's do a reverse. And evolved. Good. Bring the elbow to the knee. And then reaching. The reaching doesn't stop. You just keep reaching from this position. Good. Coming back up into reverse. Feeling the stretch from the pinky all the way down. And then if you want to extend it, you just go forward with your hip a little bit more. Good. 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 Back into extended. Sorry. All right. We're breathing. Reverse. Feeling the front hip all the way up to the arm. This really gets to about my shoulder. Good. And then the extended lunge. I widen my base just a little bit and preparing to reach underneath for the bind. Really good. Just stretch one more time. Reach as high as you can. Reach out. Keep reaching. Now I'm going to reach behind me. Reach underneath and bind. No crack there today. It doesn't need it. Good. And then if you're in this position and you want to hold the bind, make sure that back foot doesn't come up off the ground. Good, good, good. And release. Good. Now, bringing both feet back to the long end of the mat, I'd like to differentiate those poses that we just did, those side lunges, with something called, this is called triangle pose in yoga. And so the difference here is, so we were just in side lunges. So let's turn the other foot towards the front of the mat. Okay, this is our lunge, but let's straighten that front leg. Straighten that front leg, turn towards the front leg, turn the back leg just a little bit, and then come into a long, high ham. This is a very high hamstring stretch. And it just hits the hamstring a little bit different than any of the other positions. I know because I can feel it. And I know which muscles are in there. Good. And then you can bring your arms up here like this. This is the more traditional way. And you can use this hand and push against your leg and really open that up and get a rotation in there too. This is a very nice stretch. And you just keep working on that. And the whole idea with this pose is like you want to be on top of this, so your front leg is straight, and then shift forward, right? You don't want to like dive down. You want to shift, and then you want all of the bend to be coming here. You want this to be the bend. You don't want to. You don't want to laterally flex. You don't want to bend your spine. You want a straight spine. Allowing all the hip muscles, the top of the hip, all around the hip. Everything is getting stretched in there. These are the major muscles that move you around all day long. Let's warm them up before they have to do their work. Just holding you upright in the gravitational field. 90% of the energy in your brain is dedicated towards holding you up in the gravitational field. 90%. There's a Nobel Prize winner. Discover that. Roger Sperry. The rest of everything else, like eating, digestion, your immune system, making offspring, or making the tools for offspring, or harnessing the tools for offspring. Anyway, rambling. Let's do the triangle on the other side. So, 1 foot face towards the short end of the mat, 1 foot back leg at a 45-degree angle. Let's just come over top of it too. Let's like feel that translation, like kind of like that walk like an Egyptian vibe, right? We don't want to laterally flex here. We want to just allow the spine to come down. Good. Anyway, so the more distorted your posture is, the more energy that has to go into holding you upright in the gravitational field. That means you have less energy available for all the other things. Speaking of breathing, into your nose, up through your mouth. Really feeling the high hamstring in there. It's so good the way that it just isolates that. They found that a very high percentage of people who have back pain also have tight hamstrings. And with the down dogs and with this triangle pose, your hamstrings they're ready to go. I give my seal of approval. Good, we're going to push up from here on the out breath. Ooh, that one came up a little bit stiffer on that side for me. I'm going to recognize that. Good, and now we're going to come into the lunge, the forward-facing lunge on this side. And the side bends, bending towards the front leg, just a little bit more stable, a little bit easier. Bending towards the back leg is tough. You're gonna have to really open up all the stability muscles. Good thing you don't have to do it consciously. 620 muscles, 625, 626 muscles in the body. Depends on who's counting, really, and how you classify them, but 620 something muscles in the body, they're all activated right now. Every single muscle of your, mine are because I'm talking, so they get the jaw muscles. I guess it's not really true. You can't really activate all the muscles in your body at the same time. Deep lunge. I'm gonna go to the side one more time with the breath. In and out. As you breathe out, reach a little bit higher. Feel the top of your hip get activated. When you're reaching, you should feel the top of your hip. Then we're going to go to the other side. Reaching up. Good, and then bringing the hands down to the mat. Good, pushing back to up dog, top of the plank position. High plank. This is a good time to bang out push-ups if you're there, or maybe stand up and do some wall squats. I'm going to go through the whole sequence right now. Good. Pushing back. Fingertips. Arms pushing the body towards the butt. Heels reaching down. Head relaxed. Squeezing Mula Bandha. Good. Coming out of that, back into high plank. Low plank. Up dog. Rotation. Good. A low plank. High plank. Stepping forward. Lunge. Side bend lunge. Side bend lunge. Standing for a side lunge. Reaching forward. Evolving. Extended side lunge. Pinky to toe. Coming back up. Reverse side lunge. Good. Feeling the top of the hip. Side lunge. Stepping in just a bit. Straightening the front leg. Scooping forward. Allowing the spine to come down. No lateral flexion here. All hip. Feeling the top of the hamstring. Opening up just a little bit more. Coming back up. Both feet face towards the long end of the mat. Turn the other foot. Back leg is angled. Since our legs were just in the triangle pose, we're going to do the triangle pose because the width is in the right distance. So scooping forward and then allowing the spine to come down. Spine to come down, very good. Good.
3 breaths is a nice pace to keep coming back up. Getting a little bit more space. Now bending the front leg. Now we're in our side bend. Side lunge. It's our extended side lunge. Our reverse side lunge. 3. Extended side lunge. 3. Good. And bending to the side. Forward facing lunge. And side bends, bringing your hands down to the mat. Breathing. Push up. Coming to the knees. You know, if you like to move fast, then you can just go through that routine 15 times with the breath. Or if you like to move slow, then you can go through it once, as we just did. Breathing 15 times in each position. Or medium paced. Or do 1 slow and 4 fast. However you would like to divide the mat, this doesn't take very long. My spine is completely stretched right now. Of course, there's some shoulder work that we can do on the pull-up bar. I like to do shoulder pull-up bars. But this is the main, primary, most essential, most important stretching that you'll ever do. Because if you're achieving the maximum range of motion in the spine, there's nothing else that you can do. What can I say? The spine is the most important thing to stretch. Okay, that's enough for today, I think. All right, we've got a couple more yoga sessions. Thank you.